So let's look at CE dashboards. We talk a lot with this commission about the progress that we're making towards our goals in transition, academics, occupation. What you see an example of here is the dashboard for transition. So you see some of the key.
Jessica, could you increase the font so we can you do that?
Ainsley, can you make it a little larger?
That one's easy, but yeah.
Just on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one is a little harder to see, but I can describe it.
Okay.
So the purpose of the dashboards is the dashboards measure our key metrics. So you can look at the class or the program type, the assessments that are administered in that area. You can see how the students are engaging, look at their outcomes, and that helps us make instructional decisions. So it's a little hard to see right now, but Ainsley, if you slide up a bit, yep, okay.
Look back.
Yep, if you go up, yep, right there. So here, it might be a little fuzzy for you. It's a little fuzzy for me, but it names all of the transition programs. You can see how many students are enrolled at each of our facilities and how many have earned certificates. And then if you go down to where you see the colored bars, you can see by institution how many certificates have been earned thus far. So each coordinator, when they meet with me monthly, we look at how their program is progressing for the year. So for example, in occupation, we're looking at how many certifications were earned. We're looking at how many graduates we have. I think the thing that we talk most about with this commission is how many ASCs and GEDs are earned. So this is something that we all look at together when the coordinators meet with me, as well as when we have our HQ meetings on Tuesday and when we engage at our systems meetings. If you go to our next slide, you see our smart boards. So something that we're really, really proud of is that we've had smart boards installed at all of our institutions. So these are actual real pictures in our Maryland classrooms from our last set of instructional rounds. So our smart boards are used by our CE academic, occupational, and transition and academic teachers. And the purpose of our smart boards, we've had a few sets of training on them, but the purpose of the smart boards is to build student engagement, scaffolding, and we can use them as a way to formatively assess our students. Smart Technologies has been really wonderful in working with us to provide customized training for our teachers. Before we even provided our training, the teachers like dug right in, they plugged in the boards, they tried to figure out how many things that they can do. We had smartboard training in person yesterday in the West. And we're looking at expanding our connectivity capabilities. Thank you so much, Director Cox. We've done some wiring and some setup already. So our smart boards aren't working at our full capacity, but once the Wi-Fi is enabled, we'll be able to do far more things on them. Even our teachers are finding ways to have the students come up to the boards to engage, and they have just really been a hit. They're finding all kinds of things that you can use on the smart board, rulers, protractors. They are really excited about this technology. And what's great about technology in CE is not only does it improve the teaching and learning, but it also provides exposure, awareness, and some practice for our students behind the fence to see what technology looks like in the real world. You can advance to our next slide. So tablets, I talked about these a little bit before, and this has been a hot topic within PEDR, but we utilize tablets across academic, occupational, and transitional classrooms. They are used in daily instruction. Every school has a set of tablets. And in fact, I will be sending those numbers to you today, Ainsley, so you know exactly how many are at each site. But we have sets at each site. They're all on carts. Each school kind of does it a little bit different, but they signed out the tablets so that everyone has some equitable use of them. on the tablets. You can do guided and independent practice. I'm actually going to walk through all the many features of the tablets and what's preloaded. But the purpose of it is to have some targeted skill development. So you can go into a classroom and the teacher might be providing direct instruction to one group. Another group might be working on tablets. Another group may be working on independent practice. But it's really to hone in on what students need, which is found on their individual learning plans, so that they can get that either prerequisite skill or extended skill to meet success with whatever their intended outcome of their program is.
Can we ask a question?
Of course.
So this is the Origin tablet.
Uh-huh.
So can you talk about outside the classroom? Can they take it outside the classroom to the housing units to keep it? How does this work? Or is it just in school? That's
a good question. And I'm going to actually talk about that right now. You're in my mind. So inside school, that's how they use them. The tablets are also used for our transition and independent study program, which we're now moving to the cohort model. And that was discussed with the career work group yesterday. And that's part of the library programming. And that's those classes that I named on the first slide. That's what's on the tablets for our transition and independent study program. At RCI and approved yesterday by MCTC, we have a virtual academy where we do use the tablets on the housing units, and the teachers are providing synchronous instruction. So the teachers are in the schoolhouse, they're providing instruction from their classrooms, and their students are able to engage with the instruction within their housing units.
So can I ask a further question about that?
Of course.
So go back to the housing unit.
Mm-hmm.
So where are they charged? Are they given are they given us chargers so they can plug it in their cell or
so
do they have it in an area?
That's a good question. So they receive the tablets fully charged, and then the tablets are collected at the end of the day.
Okay, so they're not going to keep them and charge them on
No.
overnight.
Nope, they're not going to keep them and charge them. And the only two facilities where we do that is at MCTC and at RCI. And we're doing this to mitigate shutdowns to ensure that the students can have some more time to engage with their teachers live, even when it's a issue of cost containment. And I see Danielle has her hand up.
Just want to make a comment. One of the reasons why we cannot keep them on the housing units is because we already have the other tablets on the housing units at this time. So we can't have multiple different charging ports and all this other stuff going on. And because that other tablet is a completely different company, right? Mm-hmm. Until we in the state get to the point that hopefully eventually we have one company, one tablet, the one thing that we're doing that we could do that, we can't have them both together on the housing unit 24/7. And I saw your comment, does it result in an excessive amount of lock-in time? The reason why we're doing this is when they are shut down, mm-hmm. right? So they're getting them on the housing unit when they're shut down. It's not that we are purposely putting them in the housing unit to do education, right? If they can come to school, they come to school and they use them in school. That's only for when we would have shutdown. Is that they're using them in the housing units.
Is that another reason why they're not being used in the same place at the same time, so to speak, because the company has that in their contract that there won't be competing stuff, or is that just logistics?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
You got two competing companies, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So the materials for courses are not on the tablets that they have in their cells, right? They're only on the other
Correct.
ones.
That's correct.
The Vibe tablets are not used for education. They do not, there's not really an education platform on those tablets. There's a little bit,
mm-hmm.
like lower level, like ABE stuff,
mm-hmm.
That they can access through Adobe. But other than that, they don't have like those higher level programming that the tablets that the labor has for education.
So what is on the tablets in their cells they can use for texting and?
Those are used for commissary, virtual visitation. They're used for entertainment. They're used, there is some academic stuff on there. There's religious services stuff on there. There's books, movie, that sort of stuff. So
Some
it's
random
more,
stuff.
yeah, it's more for like every day. You know,
Is it a pay per view for most stuff?
what was that?
Most of it is pay per view, or a lot of it's pay per view.
Yeah, there's so it's subscription based. So yes, they do have to pay a cost to have those per month. DPSCS pays a certain part of the premium for it, but then there is a certain cost. The Origin tablets, that's completely different. There is no cost to the II for use of those tablets. And actually, that is the company's main slogan, is that they will not provide technology at the expense of an incarcerated individual or their family. So that's on the state to then purchase those tablets and that technology.
Okay.
Okay, if you go back, I'm going to talk a little bit about what's on our tablets. So on our tablets is a learning management system. Our learning management system helps us enroll our students, track the data that is derived from the tablets. There's also Essential Ed, which lets our students get on TABE, as well as Essential Ed for GED Academy. It's okay.
Wait a minute. Where are we going?
Yeah, I was like, we're coming back. We're coming back. We're coming back. All right. And this usage is tracked daily. The principals and I, when we do our check-ins, we look at who's using the tablets, how much, and what are the outcomes when we do our monthly check-in. And Origin has made some adjustments as of late to really help us ensure that we're looking at the right things and help teachers make those instructional decisions. There are training and platform updates that are regularly done from Origin staff, and Origin meets with the headquarters team as well as our school-based teams on a regular basis to provide that ongoing professional learning. Origin has even been so kind as to come out and teach our teachers at RCI how to provide synchronous instruction on the tablets, and they've done so with MCTC to gear them up. Again, just as Director Cox stated, this is exceptionally helpful in providing learning to our students in real time when we don't have enough officers to run school. So it's used in a few different ways. And Ainsley, you can go ahead and advance to the next slide. Elmo projectors, these are the kind of the new school overheads. I think I'm showing my age here. Our Elmo projectors are simply a way to project documents. Again, all of our teachers, academic, transition, and occupational, use these projectors. These projectors are really wonderful for explicit instruction. When the teacher is modeling how to engage with a new concept or a new skill, the teacher is able to show her thinking or show, he or she is able to show their thinking. It's also great to do a close read to annotate text, something that is critical for our students preparing for a GED. And also our students are able to use the Elmo to come up and model and show their thinking to their peers. With this looks like problem solving. You can revise your writing, but it's hands-on, it's live, and everyone can use it. You can use it as a simple image projector. There are also ways to store information within it, such as like instructional documents, graphic organizers, etc.
And are they connected up with the Origin tablets?
No, they are not connected to
This
Origin.
is just for classroom use.
But you could put the tablet down and project, or you could connect your tablet to your smartboard and project.
Okay. Can I ask a question?
Of course.
I mean, because I'm just trying to get it. Okay, there's not enough officers at RCI one day, so tablets are out there, and people are working with the teacher on the tablets.
Correct.
So a class is going that everybody sees the same thing.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's the virtual thing. So they can go back and forth and discuss. And are teachers able to do audio back and forth with the students?
On the tablet or on the
like the teacher's doing a presentation, can a student talk or just have to type questions?
the students can type and what the student can see. The tablets have the capability for so technically the capability is there for both, for the teachers to see the students and for the students to see the teacher. However, we do not enable it and use it in that way.
I would love to
They use
see,
it with the
to
camera.
be there one day, to see this actually and, demonstrated, be there in person. I would love to do that.
Yeah, the hard part with that is we can't predict it because we only use the tablets in that way when school is closed. I mean, but it's certainly, we could schedule it and we could do a simulation so you could see what it looked like if school happened to be open on the day.
Let's talk more about that. I'd love to do that. Let's talk more.
Okay, absolutely. All right, Ainsley, you can advance to the next slide. So here we have our study buddies. Study buddies are mainly used for our special education students. Study buddies are wonderful because they are a scaffold in that the study buddy will read to you and provide immediate corrective feedback. It might be good if we use this time to just watch the 2-minute video.
Study Buddy lets students learn privately and at their own pace with multimedia instruction and immediate feedback. All software is on cartridges. There's no Wi-Fi and no way to connect to the internet. Here's how it works. Select a cartridge and insert it into the top of the unit. Once the unit boots up, the Choose a Subject screen appears. Use the 4-way button and select button to choose the subject. Next, choose a lesson. 3 modes of operation are used to teach and measure mastery of each lesson: play lesson, study, and test. Students can play a multimedia lesson to learn the concept as many times as they need it.
Next, combine like terms. 2x plus x go together, then the 4x squared, and finally plus 6 and plus 5.
The study mode is then used to present 10 questions with immediate feedback. When the study mode is selected, 10 questions are randomized from a larger bank. When a question is answered, one sees immediately if the answer is correct. If it is not, press that answer selection again to see carefully crafted step-by-step feedback. Use the 4-way button to go back and find the correct answer. When students are ready, they can use the test mode to test their knowledge. Students answer 10 questions, not knowing if they are right or wrong. At the end of the test, when a score appears, the Review Mistakes feature lets students go back to see feedback to correct their mistakes, while the information is fresh in their minds. A personal learning plan tracks progress. For group instruction, you can connect Study Buddy to a TV or projector. Used by millions of students over 20 years, Study Buddy is a proven solution to boost student motivation and save teachers time.
Thank you, Ainsley. So you can see how this would be really impactful for our special education students because it provides, I'm sorry, because it provided,
That might be Anne.
no, I'm sorry. My children are home today.
Oh, your children.
My children are home today.
Yay, mama.
Jesus. But the purpose of the study buddies is really just to give more than one hit, which is exceptionally helpful with our special education students. So the teacher can model and show and plug this into they can plug it into the smartboard, or they can attach or they can put it under the Elmo to show a new skill, and the student can also work independently and go over a skill if they need it, which is exceptionally helpful in working on our IEP skills as well as skills that build prerequisite knowledge to the content. It kind of does, if you look at it, it looks like an old school video game. And we have these at all of our institutions that have special education. And you can advance to our next slide. So this is probably my favorite piece of technology with NCE. These are the simulators. The simulators allow the student to sit inside, and I was like, you can look to the left and actually feel the experience of operating heavy equipment. I was able to do this at OSTC. I was just tickled. So you can get on there, and I was using the forklift. I was using the forklift as if I worked in the Amazon warehouse. And actually, the student I was working with had already secured a job with Amazon. So they were practicing real life skills. You can practice welding, but it feels very real world, and it's unlike just anything else. We had a chance when we were doing our PEDR walks earlier this fiscal year to see this at MCTC. And I think a couple members of PEDR were able to try this out with Mr. Bigler. But it's a way to practice those skills, you know, in a safe, controlled environment before they transition to live equipment in the world of work. What's exciting about this level of technology is that it gives real feedback. You can enhance your skill. You can do it over and over and over again. That's what I was working on with a student. I was dropping what was on the forklift, so I don't think Amazon would ever employ me. But it gives you a way to use all of this equipment that would be really expensive to have behind the fence. So it gives that exposure to real life work, and it also doesn't pose, you know, any safety risk or take up a lot of space. So this is just very exciting technology that we are thrilled to have within CE. Can advance to the next slide, Ainsley. And here's, I mean, something that you would expect, computers and TVs. So we have a few desktop computers within each of our CE schools that our teachers share. We're actually getting brand new ones. Again, thank you, Director Cox. And they will be rolled out to all of our institutions. On the computers, teachers write their lesson plans. They look for, sometimes they'll find a video that they'll download and use. Our math teachers sometimes use Khan Academy to show students another way to build concepts and skills step by step. Of course, we use the computers just for our regular communication with each other. Email, this is where all of our teacher leaders and our school-based leaders, where they do like their compliance reporting on their check-in documents and make those cool dashboards that we saw in our first slide. Our digital curriculum is available on here, as well as our testing platforms, which you know for us is TABE and GED. The computers are also used for a classroom display during whole group instruction. Again, that provides that visual modeling. I've seen teachers even take students on virtual field trips, play clips. I've seen them use them for TED Talks, but it's just another way to kind of bring that outside behind the fence to our students during their learning experience. Go to our next.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
So are the teachers entering data at this point? They're in the classroom, like the class, are they actually taking attendance with this and all that at that point?
So yes, teachers do take attendance within CE student, and then teachers also do track their data. There are Excel spreadsheets for every school where every single student is listed, so you can see how that student is engaging. So you can see all of their recent test scores and then the instructional decisions that were made for that student. So that is done bi-monthly. This is actually our professional learning week. So this was done this week at every school with every teacher for every student.
So this gets uploaded into the database,
So yep, so the teacher leaders, so either the teacher supervisor or the lead teachers in partnership with the principals actually have data meetings with the teachers every other month where they formally type into their data sheets. Can advance to our next slide. And the next couple slides are all about Origin. So we talked about how the tablets are really amazing because they have so much educational content preloaded on them. So that content falls in a couple different areas. So it's, you know, what we already talked about with the LMS, where the teacher can create their own course. I think our occupational teachers did the best job with this because they're able to put all kinds of things on there. And I think it's a great time to kind of brag on some of the things that they've done. So, for example, our automotive teachers have cited that the students have a great interest in electric cars. So they're able to put all kinds of content on their videos, how-tos, images, tools for the students to see, that they can go on, that they can practice, that they can read about different things. And our occupational teachers have actually worked together all across the state to do that. So that's an example of building out the courses. But if you kind of read through these, it has, you know, the usual suspects that you would expect on there. So some TABE, some GED prep that's already preloaded that you really don't need to do much to. Financial literacy is on there. There are reentry tools on there, outside of TIS that are just already preloaded and a part of the Origin content. There are some things for like behavioral therapy and self-help. You can go to the next slide.
What's Colibri? Colibri?
Go back.
Colibri.
Oh, okay. Colibri is for our English as a second language students.
Oh, okay. Never, I have, this is a new one for me. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Here is some more standard content that you would see on the tablets, but it allows you to, you know, explore a career, which is really the goal, and, you know, and why CE lives within labor, because we are spending so much time building out, you know, the academic capability of our students, you know, teaching them a skill, providing them those national certification, engaging with all of our independent reentry resources, as well as the ones that our transition teachers lead our students through, so that they're able to earn a living wage and reenter society, able to take care of themselves as well as their family. And that should conclude.
Can I make one comment?
Of course.
Maybe it didn't occur to anybody, but the tablets are clear plastic.
Yes.
And that goes back to when tablets were first introduced into corrections. There's a big fear that people would hide stuff and pass it around inside the tablets one way or another.
Oh, okay.
So they use clear plastic and it's sort of stuck. You know, there's a security thing, but, you know, probably it's been forgotten about.
Yes, and that clear plastic is also really great because I've seen one fall on the floor and it did not break. So they're
really hard to break.
Very sturdy and heavy duty, even though our students do a great job, you know, handling them with care.
Well, that's the other thing that people should realize. I remember years ago when we introduced Radio Shack computers at MCTC. Oh, they're going to wreck them. They're going to destroy them. Those things lasted 20 some years. They learned how to keep them running. They do not destroy technology in classrooms and corrections. It's rare that they love it and they keep it.
I think it's a wealth of resources on there that the students are excited to engage with, and that our teachers have really taken to, you know, one, to explore on their own, and also to build their own classes. And I think, Dr. Stephen, you even got some time to explore on our tablets with a student account.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I sent that maybe 2 months ago. I can resend it if you would like.
Yeah, please resend it. You know, I saw it and then I sort of like forgot, but I do want to do that. And I've really watched all this stuff. I used to work for one of the companies after I retired on developing tablets, and I really try to keep up with it, but there's so much out there. So I really want to go through it.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Like, there's so much out there, and the technology continues to advance, as well as what Origin adds to it and what Origin offers. And Origin, we have regular meetings with them at the HQ level to get the highlights about what's new and provide that ongoing professional learning to our teachers, and then they pass on to our students.
This is very informative.
Melissa, go ahead.
Hi, Jessica. Thank you so much for that. I just wanted to understand how the tablets may intersect or act with a student's. I know there's a learning plan. How does it intersect with an IEP and tracking services and IEP goals? Is there a separate tracking system? Is there, you know what I'm saying? Like, how does that, is there interplay?
Yeah, yes, there can be. So when a student has an IEP goal is written for the grade level standard, but there are often prerequisite standards that help them kind of build up to meet that goal. A teacher can look at a student's IEP, assign that prerequisite knowledge or that skill development that that particular student needs on their tablet, and the student can work independently where the teacher can check in with that student. So it could be a case where you might walk into a room and see 7 tablets out, but all 7 students could be working on something totally different aligned to what that student needs. Or all 7 students might be working on the same thing if that's the appropriate guided practice for that lesson.
And I'm sorry, just looking to one quick follow-up question. So is that general practice for the IEPs to be infused into the tablet system? And my second question is there a separate system for tracking like data on, progress towards a goal or receipt of related services?
No, there's not a separate tracking system. All of the system tracks it the same way so that you can see progress towards any goal or any skill or concept that you want your student to work on.
So that would mean that IEPs would have to be, IEP goals would have to be uploaded or integrated.
Oh, no, you don't need to upload anything. You don't
Not
need to
upload, but I mean integrated.
They don't need to be integrated because the content is already there. The content is already there because you could do that. You could assign a student to a particular skill or concept or standard, or you could upload anything that you would like to your class for that student to work on, and that can be individualized or at the class level. So you can do it for a student with an IEP or a student with a general ed student. It wouldn't be any different because the purpose is really to provide either an individualized learning experience or to extend practice that's aligned to the content that you're teaching everyone.
I'm going to say something that I presume, if it's just for maybe help Alyssa. I presume that every student has a password and an ID, and so they can grab any tablet that day. And so their plan is in the system, whether they have an IEP or they're just a general student.
You are correct.
Work on those things, and it's recorded. And so it'd be much like any other classroom in the public school using technology, log in. And does that help, Alyssa?
Yeah, I think it's also just similar to what you were saying, Steve. It's hard to visualize unless you've seen it. So there might be an opportunity to kind of see how an
Well, if you want to go out one day, even if
okay.
I'd be love to. We can meet and go out together.
Okay.
Yeah.
I certainly would like to see the special ed stuff. I talked to teachers when we were out there about that stuff, and I'd like to see some more.
That'd be great.
Absolutely. And Alyssa, we can also provide you an account for you to get some practice to just kind of see what it looks like and what the experience is like for a student.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll get your email address from Ainsley.
For special ed or for any student too, but I presume that when they get a tablet, they can get a headset, so they're sitting there listening. I guess they're still plugged in and all that. They're not Bluetooth or something, but
You are correct.
and then so they can work quietly separately, and that would give them a chance to have audio reinforcement or whatever special kind of things might be in that instruction. I don't know what's in there, but that's what I'd be looking for.
Yep, you're absolutely right. It works exactly like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anne, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the presentation. I'm so impressed. And I will say anecdotally, I've been noticing some successes among people after long-term failure. And I had wondered what has changed to allow this person to be successful. So I really, really am excited to see these updates. I just had one question, and this might be for you, or it might be for Danielle, or it might be for both of you. We had heard in a meeting maybe about a year ago, maybe a little longer, about the upcoming opportunity to kind of merge the tablets after the existing Viapath contract expired, that there was a provision in there that kind of forced the Viapath tablets. Has any progress been made on that? And does it look like we're going to be able to track to consolidate so that everybody can have these kind of great services that you have?
I think that's a question for Danielle. So
yeah, and when I go into my part right here, I can discuss that.
Absolutely. So that concludes my presentation. I'm
Well,
happy to.
I think this is a giant leap forward because it's so much at the beginning. These companies that came in with their own little silly tablets monopolized everything and forbade any kind of intrusion on their internet or intranet. They built that stuff in. So having these tablets and you're getting them out to the housing units now for a virtual thing. I just want to hopefully that'll happen everywhere. And it'll open up even more, and these companies' contracts will be looked at a whole different light with education, participating in that development of those contracts, and so that we can expand instruction into the housing units. That's what I hope will happen next. But Danielle's going to answer that.
Yep. All right. You can go to the next slide, Ainsley. I just have one. I'm just going to go through the different things. Actually, why don't I go ahead and just touch on the ViaPath really quick and what's in the housing unit. So we did discuss what is on those tablets. We entered into a 5-year contract with 3 extension years. We are currently in those extension years at this time. I believe we have 1 more year left in that contract. At that time, then, of course, DPSCS will need to take and look at putting out an RFP for either ViaPath to continue or a different vendor to take over that contract. Now we are currently in discussions about that because of funding budgetary issues. We're talking 17,000 tablets across the state. So when you look at what ViaPath is offering and what we're paying, and a lot of the issue is due to Maryland's budgetary concerns. ViaPath does have a portion to where there's a cost share portion there. Whereas if you go with something like Origin, you would have to take and the state would have to completely pay. Origin can do everything ViaPath does, plus all those education things. And I know that if and when that RFP does go out, I'm sure there will be several vendors that will go out for that. So that's just something that we are, in discussions with right now with procurement at this time. So once we get further along in that, I can let you know. But education network. So we are working on a dedicated internet access education network that would only be utilized by education. What we're doing is utilizing the old PDD virtual visitation lines, network lines that we have out there that were put in during COVID so we could do all those virtual visitations. We are upgrading those lines to more upgraded fiber so that we can actually be able to do a segmented line that is very dedicated and securely sectioned off just for education. So this would mean that labor's tablets can go from cellular to Wi-Fi across the state. The colleges then can connect in their laptops, the student laptops, to that dedicated internet access. The smart boards also that labor has can be connected into those. So it'll be a huge change. Right now, we are piloting that at MCIW. That is the site where we have completely overhauled everything. And that was to make sure that we could get Goucher's trailers up and running in addition to the school. So that was a very big project. We're talking about 325 to 350,000 per site. And I actually just got another bill. So for MCIW, so it's looking about $400,000 total for what it costs us to be able to do all those upgrades. Now, that did include doing a lot of lines and putting in, we even had to do all part of that was all those trailer, doing those trailers too. So just to do the schools, it'll be a lower cost. But each facility will be different. We've also have done JCI for the higher ed. We need to put in a couple more access points to be able to switch labor over to that. We are testing out the MCIW right now with the higher ed. Once we know that that bandwidth is good to go, we'll be able to switch labor over to that dedicated internet access also. We're putting in, I just paid for the fiber lines at Patuxent. And when we're putting this in, though the purpose of my funding is for higher ed, we're doing the entire school so that labor can also benefit too. So Patuxent is the next one. We already have the company going out to do those upgrades. Then we have RCI in the West because Goucher College will be going there, and MCTC because Towson will be starting there in the fall. So the three that we're currently in process is Patuxent, MCI, MCTC, and RCI. We also have a lot of technology equipment investments. Last fiscal year, we bought 800 computers for labor to be able to switch out all their computers across the state. The big push for that was because of having to go to Windows 11 and the phasing out of Windows 10. We could not keep the computers, the current computers that are in there that are in that operating system are unsecured because Microsoft stopped doing security certificates for that. So in order to have them be able to be used and on the network, you know, and be able to be used, they have to be upgraded. So we purchased all those computers. We're currently in the process of getting all them put in. I believe Cumberland is done at this time. There's been some hiccups there, just with some of the technology getting them out to the schools, but we're working on that right now. I just purchased 12 smart boards for the higher education programs. They're going to be put onto wheels so that they can go and take them into the different rooms that they use for the higher education programs. We just put in a $3.5 million contract for Origin over 4 years for Chromebooks for all the college students, in addition to purchasing the entire platform, so the LMS, where they can connect either Canvas, Blackboard, Moodle, whatever they have available, whatever their college uses. It also has a reentry platform on it, a bunch of different things. It's actually called a Reentry Navigator, is what it's called on there, that our education and employment specialists that we hired will be able to go in and work with our higher ed students, both pre-release and post-release, on their education, employment, post-release services, that sort of thing, to be able to get them connected before they leave. And then also connect with them on the outside because we're part.
Can I ask a question about the Chromebooks?
Go ahead.
So you're getting Chromebooks these are for the higher ed people.
Correct.
Now, how would they be deployed? Are they going to just use them in, like, if at the women's, for example, use them in the trailer? Can I take them back?
They will be used in the school and in the trailer, and then we are in the process of wiring up the one housing unit that houses most of the Goucher students.
So they would be able to take them back to the unit.
Correct.
And
there's like a general purpose like room, so they can go in and use that room then for the use of the Chromebooks. Yeah.
So they wouldn't have them in their cell, but they'd have them in the purpose room, in the all-purpose room in the living core.
Yeah, there'll be like a charge cart. They can go take them, sign them out, use them.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. All right. They have their own ID and all that stuff. Okay,
yep.
Good.
The same thing at RCI. For Goucher, the school will be wired. They'll be able to use them there. In addition, all the Goucher students from MCIJ will be housed on Housing Unit 2 in one tier. And then, so the general purpose room that tier has and uses, we're going to be wiring it and putting a smart board in there so they can also use their Chromebooks in that area. So they will be able to have those. There'll be like a charge card that they'll have available. They can sign them out there.
Can I ask another question then?
Sure.
So you can't instruct on the housing unit.
When they go to the general purpose area, they can get their Chromebooks out, put their headphones on, and do the virtual instruction that way, but just not in the cell.
Right. But I mean, like, because you're short on officers as a college program. The college students theoretically would go up to school somewhere for class, right?
If school is in session, and yes, like
So,
if the building's open. The reason why we're doing this at RCI specifically is due to some of the shutdowns due to staff shortages. In addition, we want to make sure they have that access anyways, so they can do their schoolwork on the housing unit.
yeah, I'm just trying to think what's the logistics of what we saw. No officers for the college program. Can the college instructor cannot go back to the housing unit and instruct because there's not that kind of space to do that, you know, in an emergency.
No, they will. Goucher, we already looked at the space. They can actually, the space in housing unit 2. There's a bunch of different tables. The instructor can go and
Great.
sit down and do some work with them. We're going to be doing virtual stuff there too. So yeah, it'll be classes and virtual stuff. So because we'll have one classroom in the school that'll be used on a regular basis by Goucher, and then we're actually building out. It's costing me about 150 grand to build a classroom in the hallway. If you've ever been into the education building,
right,
where you have education on the right, the case management on the left there at RCI, and the library further up on the left, there's that massive, very long, very wide hallway. On the right, there's a couple cubicles with like some chairs in it, right? We're going to take that space and make it a classroom, like with walls and windows and everything.
How big? How many students can you get in it?
Approximately about 15.
Okay.
So full class.
Yep. Yeah. I remember how it's laid out. MCIJ was the same way.
Yep. So then that'll be able to be used during the day or evening, because there's always an officer posted right there out front. So, yep. Other technology investments. So that's kind of where we are right now with technology. Of course, we're moving. We want to get the education network out to all the schools eventually. But my budget was cut significantly. Labor also has budgetary. We're all kind of feeling that budgetary constraints. So we're just kind of doing what we can. I do have a proposal in to Ascendium Education for funding to help support technology advancements in our schools. So fingers crossed, we can hopefully get some support for that. So.
And were you applying for that? I'm sorry.
Ascendium.
Ascendium, right. That's what I thought you said. Thank you.
Yeah. Origin platform, like Labor has it where they have mostly for their GED programs, ABE, some CTE stuff like that. Ours will be mainly used for the higher ed. So the LMS obviously will be used a lot by our professors to create classes. In addition to, like I said, there's a lot of reentry support programs also on that. And I can always get you a list of all the different things that are going to be available.
Can you talk about this a little more? The Origin, if I'm hearing you right, the Origin is going to be connected to the higher education programs with its LMS.
To the Chromebooks. Yeah, they'll log in, it'll go straight to the platform.
So Origin is can also be on the Chromebooks.
Yes, we're actually buying them from Origin. Yes.
Okay, so it's not just tablets. Origin has Chromebooks.
Yep.
But you're using the LMS. I mean, this would be, to me, this would be so important that a student goes through academic programs, goes into higher education, and then they're all it's in there. So it's all united, their whole record, through the way these platforms are put together. So there's one record system for all of them.
Exactly. And that's the great thing about both Labor and us using that, is if they go from the GED program or CTE or whatever to the higher ed, it's all one record. So we'll be able to see all that from beginning to end. So yeah,
excellent. I mean, that to me is so crucial that you're working that closely together.
Yep, exactly. And then the last thing we have is a couple of different virtual reality programs. We have the Vehicles for Change program that has the virtual reality goggles where they get they go through the first they get 5 certifications, ASE certifications towards automotive certification. We have been doing that at MCIW. We've done 4 cohorts so far, graduated 35 students, 45 students through those cohorts. And then we have, we're moving to Dorsey Run and Patuxent. We got a grant to be able to expand next fiscal year. So we'll be able to bring that. The great thing about that is that labor is looking, we're having talks about moving the MCIJ automotive program to Patuxent. And if we do that, then we can have them start with the virtual reality while they're on a wait list, and they can get some of that exposure to the Vehicles for Change program and to those ASE certificates, and then go right into labor's apprenticeship program.
Okay.
So that's a great little kind of transition.
I wish I could see this more in the charts. I'm sorry I'm asking questions, but Vehicles for Change. Okay, I've been there. I understand what's going on, but now they have their own programs that you use for virtual training.
Yep.
And so they'd be on an Origin tablet.
No, it's on goggles, like virtual.
On goggles, okay. And
Yep.
So you can do that at the women's or Patuxent, but so what happens if they get these certifications? I mean, some of these people are going to go to Vehicles for Change outside when they get finished.
Yes, our MOU with them, because we're trying to do it with people who have 2 or less years of release. One, because the certifications only last 2 years, right? But also then Vehicles for Change gets their contact information so they can continue with them post-release in their program. Or if they don't want to, they have a certification as a lube technician. So if they want to go straight into employment, Vehicles for Change can help support them in getting employment post-release.
That's great. I'd love to see this so I could catch up with what I saw some years ago at Vehicles for Change. This is great. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to bring you in and put the goggles on you and let you.
I really would like to do this. I'll take the time. I'll travel out to Hagerstown. I'll go to Vehicles for Change. Is it still up there off of Route 1 somewhere?
Well, they had to get rid of the Hallthorpe location, I believe it was, due to funding cuts. But we can bring you out to MCIW and you can do it. So
No, that'd be perfect. I'd love to do that. So yeah, I'll be talking to you and Jessica about
Right.
coming
And
out.
then- I said the last one is our CDL mobile trailers. We purchased 3 trailers they're like 22-foot trailers that have a classroom in it with screens. We can do 6 guys at a time. It has a huge simulator, one of those simulators like labor has for like the welding programs and that, or I'm sorry, the heavy operator programs where they sit in it and they can it's like they're actually driving the truck. We are working with 4 different community colleges to provide that certification program, both pre and post release. So they are going to be coming in Hagerstown Community College in the West. We have Anne Arundel and Jessup, Baltimore City Community College in Baltimore, and then Warwick on the Eastern Shore. They're all going to be offering a very similar training program with using that simulator and their curriculum, so that if a guy gets the training through the trailer out in RCI, but he's released and he's a Baltimore resident, he can go back to Baltimore City Community College, tell them he was in the Hagerstown Community College program. They can get his records and he can finish the program with Baltimore City Community College for free, because we're paying for it both pre and post release. So they can finish out, do the test, take everything and get the program. They're going to help them go to the MBA, get the license, everything. It's a full service from start to finish.
And where are the trailers located?
And we have 3, 1 in each region, 1 in the West, 1 in Jessup, Baltimore. It'll go between the Jessup, Baltimore region, and the other one will be on the East.
It's a mobile trailer?
Yep, they're mobile. Yep, you can take them on like a van or a truck or, something like that.
Watch out, they'll get too good and they drive it out of the facility.
No. It's got to be hitched to something. But so they're going to be delivered. We have a 3-week delivery. We're supposed to have them in 3 weeks. So we'll have like a nice little pictures and all to show you once we get them. That's all.
Boy, this is great. It just makes me have a zillion new questions now. But you know, that's just terrific. I'd love to go out and really look and also I'll work with you guys. Alyssa, I'd love to go with you to look at anything on special ed if you're still there. I don't know if she's still on, but
she jumped off. She wrote that she had to jump
I'll
off.
get in touch with. So I'll send a note to you and Jessica. I'll send you the same note. Say, hey, let's coordinate like to come out and visit. And I know that it's hard to go the day that RCA doesn't have officers, but you know, I'll still go out even if they do. If anybody else wants to go out too. See, my dream is that the correctional system looks so much like the public school and community college system with all the offerings, you know. I mean, you can protect yourselves from all the problems of the internet, the dangers. That's easy to do for technically now. It's a matter of money and desire and coordination to get all this stuff going. But this is great. This is wonderful.
Perfect. Well, thank you, everyone. And I will absolutely send this presentation to the whole commission so everybody has this information. And like these were great presentations, and I really hope that everybody, you know, reviews them. So.
Yeah. So yeah, and I'm sorry, Jessica, that I didn't respond to that email. I didn't look to see if you sent me one, but I'll go and I'll get myself an account or however it's going to work with for the Origin tablets.
It's no problem. I'll send it to you again so it's at the top of your email box.
Okay, appreciate it.
I just want to say, like, the, you know, labor and DPSES, you know, that kind of relationship, the way that we are working together, especially with the technology and everything, it's really been great. And, you know, I appreciate all their help and support with that, and the communication, and it's been a really great partnership.
Well, this is a real good illustration of who's got to take care of what. I mean, corrections, so to speak, owns the buildings, and they've got to put the infrastructure in, and labor owns the a lot of the educational equipment, but you're really kind of renting space, so to speak. And the coordination is so important, and the planning together, like, you know, with these other competing tablets, it's a good illustration of how you could get separated and doing things that don't get coordinated and wasting time that way, and making people pay for things they shouldn't. There's a lot of stuff on these tablets that these companies put out is free in the community, and they got charged. I don't know how it is now, but there were just all kinds of people getting charged for books that were absolutely free, you know, to us if we go on the internet. And so, but this is good. I'm glad to see you guys are working together, and the money's a tough thing. Hopefully Ascendium will be nice to us like they've been to so many other states. And I'm surprised there aren't more questions here. Christian has been uncharacteristically quiet.
No, I don't have any questions. I also joined late, and I don't like when people join late and ask questions because like you might have missed something. So no, I mean, I think I was just more so thinking like I think the most thing that resonated for me was, like I said, the internet access. And I was like, you know, I don't know if there's any legislative things we can do to support that, but I think that's really good and exciting. So just great work.
Yeah, it'd be great if everybody could have access to a tablet, you know, when they're back in the housing units, and that, you know, you know, and we're going in that direction. But, you know, we got what, 15,000 people incarcerated, and yet we have maybe 1,900. I don't know how many tablets you were going to figure out that number, or Origin tablets, Danielle. So we got a ways to go. Not that everybody has to be on one. I mean, one can serve several people, because if it's being if it's being available at all different times for people to use it, that's great. But but everybody has access to a ViaPath tablet, so it can be done. We can flip them out or switch them or something. Eventually, that would be terrific. Then people can go online and say, I want to go to school, and sign themselves up for school, all kinds of possibilities. John, they're doing a good job for you over there. I know you're busy, obviously very busy with typing some other stuff there. So, but and you've probably been through this a lot. But when I see something good, I like to say so, and I really appreciate what's going on, and all the roadblocks that you're getting over eventually. I mean, all the stuff that you have to get through to get where we are is commendable.
For what it's worth, your opinion matters so much to me. I really appreciate it. And I just hope that you continue to share it and give us the opportunity to react. And you're right, I'm multitasking, doing 1,000 things you would not believe.
Well, I'm sure. And I've said, I'll try to say it again. I'm just pleased that I was given this opportunity to volunteer and chair this committee. And I'm not trying to get rid of anybody. I'm trying to help coordination work better, agencies work better, figure out a plan that we can make that permanent to work better, so that we all have the opportunity to do our job. We're not trying to rebuild this whole thing, trying to coordinate and grow it, and make it to be the most important, one of the most important things, if not the most important thing that people do while they're incarcerated.
And what I'll say is, I appreciate that you feel that way, and just hope that you keep in the back of your mind to appreciate the fact that we don't control whether or not we keep jobs as a result of the solutions that the General Assembly deems necessary. So once we put our stuff forward, this thing takes on a life of its own, and they call the shots and they pay the bills, and they either cut funding or add funding as they see fit. And unfortunately, again, I've been doing this job for a while, and in my position, I've seen decisions made on half of the information, and it's usually good intentions. Don't get me wrong, but when politics are involved, it's not predictable at all. But I appreciate that you do feel that way, and that's what your intention is.
And we have 3 delegates who I think feel that way, and they're our conduit to the others, and they've been doing a terrific job. And I just personally tell you, I've been through this I've been in your positions, Danielle and John and Jessica. We back in the 90s were being cut. They were going to fire the teachers because of budget problems. And we volunteered as teachers to work 4 days a week to keep our jobs. I mean, and you know what? The legislature loved us because we gave something in a tough time. We kept our jobs and we got them back full time within a couple of years. That was a hard decision. A lot of people left. They couldn't do work 4 days a week. And so it's been some tough times, and I appreciate them. And I know what the legislature can do in its great wisdom or lack of thereof, So yeah, and so we just plod on and try to do our best and inform people. So this is good stuff. The more people know what's going on and why it's good, the better.
And no worries. At the end of the day, no hard feelings from anybody. I feel like whatever decision is ultimately made, it's made for the good of most. I trust the process. So onward and upward.
Well, I think this commission is, and I hope this commission is developing a process to make things, good things even better, and to make them as permanent as possible, and to expand them as much, and coordinate services in a holistic way that everybody's working together. So that's where I'm coming from.
I am so impressed by the work that you guys have done over the past year from our last presentation. Like, that's all I have to say is that what I saw today exceeded like the maximum expectation that I had. So thank you so much for all the hard work you've done.
and 100% the work of the team. I am just a figurehead and title alone. Please, they get all the credit for the work.
Well, the people out there are doing all the work, but they also have to have an atmosphere created by leadership. And leadership can kill all the enthusiasm people have, or make it grow. By the way it handles. So, John, that's your position, and I think you're doing a good job.
I appreciate you all.
And we got so much more to do that we can all reach out and go forward with this. That's where we're headed. Hopefully grow and improve. And so anyway, I don't want to belabor this. Patting each other on the back. Let's just go ahead and forward and do things, and with the idea that we want to work together and make it work even better. So, Ainsley, do we have any other?
No, I think this is a good time to end the meeting. So
If there's any questions about legislation, because some of the stuff that we've had on the other meetings about legislation for higher ed or for CT, we had a bill come out of the recommendations from this committee on the school district, and so there's going to possibly be a committee to look at the possible school district, school board thing. So that's in the works, so I know that may cause some consternation, but I think if we all look at that as something to cooperate on, look at, we could come out with something even more coordinated for all of us. But anyway, so the legislature has been good to us so far this year, and we haven't had any negative questions from people, it seems, that on all the hearings so far. So I have to commend delegates Pasteur, Embry, and Simpson for their hard work, and also Delegate Ampry, who's the person who helped create this commission. So.
And I hate to cut and run, but I'm 12 minutes late for my next one. Do you guys mind if I call?
Go ahead, because Ainsley and I have another one at 11:32.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, good talking, and we'll talk again soon.
Good.
Sure.
Yes, I'll be sending some emails out to go out and do some visits.
All right. Thanks.
Sounds
good
good.
meeting, everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Hey, Jessica. I'll call her. Okay. Bye-bye.
Hey, Stephen Ainsley. So Steve, tell Ainsley, Sarah Citroni is going to be testifying on your 2 higher ed bills because Gordon and I have something to do, but she'll be doing virtual testimony. You know Sarah, right? Our director of peer services.
I've seen her.
Yeah, she's one of, she's a UB student. She was a Goucher student on the inside. She transferred to the UB program on the outside.
Okay.
So I thought she would be a good one to represent us
that's
there
terrific.
with her lived experience.
Yeah, this is the one bill that I'm sure that John and Jessica and Danielle have some apprehension about.
The higher ed bills?
The not the higher ed bill, but there's the one bill I mentioned at the end, the bill about the committee. Yeah, because it's for the school district. Now the higher ed bill is great. I think that's going well, but we may get some negativity there too, obviously from our discussion. But yeah, the more we have real people, the better, I think. And so appreciate that you guys are busy and can't always be there.
We have an event already, like a long-term planned, like it's like Sharp Dressed Man outreach, and we've all have jobs at the event. It's been long time planned. I mean, on the schedule.
No, no way. No apologies needed. So, but you're getting somebody to come in and that's great.
But yeah, Sarah is going to do virtual because she lives in Sykesville, but I just wanted to let you know that we do have somebody who's going to have lived experience that's going to speak about her experience.
Okay. I'm hoping, I don't know if MHEC is anybody else going to testify? I wonder.
I don't know. Because that's not my subcommittee. That's Gordon's subcommittee. So I don't really I don't have a good, but he just told me that they were really you guys really wanted somebody with lived experience. Yes. And so I was like, well, we're going to find someone,
No, and I appreciate that. Okay.
All right. Have a good weekend. Take care.
You too.
All right.
We continued. Bye.